Hello, I'm Lee Hatcher from Hammond Care Public Affairs in conversation with our Chief Executive, Dr. Stephen Judd, on the 2015 Intergenerational Report. Stephen, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
For a report that the Treasurer said just a few weeks ago, we're all going to fall off our chairs when we see it. Yeah. It's not full of doom and gloom.
No, it's not, and nor should it be. I mean, we talk about an ageing society, but that's actually a good thing. The reason it's got older is that the kids who populated playgrounds of schools in the 50s and 60s, well, time's moved on and so have they. So they've got older, and that's a triumph of public health, not a we'll all be ruined type situation.
But there are still major challenges, major changes ahead, although not just to do with aged care.
Yeah, I don't think this issue of intergenerational transfer in the report as a whole is really about aged care as such. I mean, the amount that we spend on aged care is very small. It's less than 1% of GDP. It's about a half of what we spend on defence. It's about a third of what we spend on pensions. So aged care as a whole is not a big deal. And it's not a big deal because, and sometimes I think people get the impression that we're all getting older, we'll all need aged care, and we'll all need aged care before we drop off this mortal coil. That's not true. In actual fact, 2 out of 3 people over the age of 70 will never need aged care even for a day. And so it's not about aged care, it's about other things associated with an ageing population.
I'll get to those, but in terms of aged care, and this is happening already, but more and more of this will be done, palliative care, for instance, in the home, in someone's home.
Oh, sure. I think we have to do a better job of ensuring that we deliver those services that people do need in the environment of their choice, be that in their, and that as much as possible will be in their own home, as much as possible. So in palliative care, let's see if we can ensure that more and more people are able to die at home rather than in an acute hospital.
We explore the cost of aged care, which they say has quadrupled since '75 and will double in the next 40 years. So where can they go to save money in the next 40 years?
Well, I said earlier that the cost of aged care is small. I mean, and the 2 out of 3 people over the age of 70 don't need aged care. But I can guarantee you almost 100% of people over the age of 70 will go to their pharmacist for prescribed medications, and probably more than they need. And they will have radiology tests and pathology tests. That's where you should be looking for savings. The other area that we need to look at is the health spend as a whole. Acute hospitals should be for acute patients. The state health system should be focusing on that, and other players who are participating in community services, hospital in the home, should be focusing upon those non-acute patients.
The report says active ageing presents great opportunities for older Australians, and with Hammond Care's Centre for Positive Ageing, that's very much in our sweet spot. But what is that going to look like?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm personally very much in favour of active ageing and positive ageing.
And same here.
Look, I think it's actually, as I said earlier, I think it's actually about ensuring that we support people in the environment of their choice, so that if they are losing function gradually, we actually help to restore function. So that's sort of things like interventions at an early time before they actually lose so much function, they end up in a hospital, that then from a hospital they have to go to a rehab ward, and then from a rehab ward they never recover to get home. So we have to have those early interventions, which means that people can stay in their home of their own choice longer.
Dr. Stephen Judd, thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure.